Over to you, Manasvi.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to MXR Enterprise Knowledge and AI. It's great to see such a wonderful mix of knowledge leaders, innovators, enterprise professionals, which will be also joining us shortly, and startups also joining us from different parts of the world. For those who are new, MXR World stands for Mixers Across the World. Our goal is simple: bring the right people into the same room so ideas, opportunities, and collaborations can happen naturally. Through MXR, we host curated mixers, startup pitches, focus groups, and ecosystem conversations that help startups get feedbacks, connections, partnerships, and market insights from practitioners and experts. In short, we try to create a serendipity with structure. Today's session focuses on enterprise knowledge and AI, a space that is evolving rapidly as organizations explore how AI can unlock knowledge, improve decision making, and shape the future of work. We also have some exciting startups pitching today, and this is where we'd love your help as a community. As you listen to these pitches, please do share your quick inputs and reactions. You can scan the QR code, which you can see on the screen right now. And we'll be dropping a feedback link also in the chat where you can quickly tell us what you think about the startups, which company caught your interests, and if you'd like to connect, collaborate, mentor, or explore a meeting with the mentioned startups. So I request you guys to please scan the QR and you will find the startups that are pitching today listed there on the link. So after the session, we'll privately share your feedback and interesting signals with the founders. And if there's a mutual interest, we'll be happy to facilitate introductions and follow up conversations. Our goal is to make these sessions useful for everyone involved, be it founders, experts, and the broader ecosystem. So please keep an eye on the Zoom chat for the link as well. And we really look forward to your inputs. With that, let's get started. And I introduce Dr. Madan Mohan Rao. Hey, Madan, great to have you here. He's the co founder of Mixer World and research director at Your Story, who is going to moderate today's session. Hi, Madan.
Thanks, Manasvi. Thanks, Vinay. I hope you can all hear me very clearly. I'm on a
Yes,
sort of okay connection. Can you give me rights to share my presentation? I'll give you a quick overview of what's in store for us today. So, as
sure.
Bansi has mentioned, we are mixer.world, mxr.world. Can you all see my slides now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. So we are MXR.world, mixers across the world. We partner with groups like the Bangalore KM community, Bangalore Knowledge Community. We have these meetups every 2 months on the third Wednesday of the month with the focus on enterprise knowledge and AI. We had one event already on February 18th. We are now today at the April 15th event, and we have four other events lined up for the rest of the year. So please stay tuned in for these events. For those of you joining the Bangalore K community for the first time, we have a very big advantage here in Bangalore. As you all know, it's the one of the tech education capitals of the world in India, right here in Bangalore. We have R&D clusters for aerospace, defense. Some of the largest IT firms and the global tech firms have headquarters or a global capability center right here in Bangalore. It's also the home of the largest number of startups, VCs, incubators, etc. across India, the world's second largest hub for AI talent. And we'll be taking a look at some of the talent shortly by looking at some pitches from five founders. It's also a cultural hub with a lot of music, food, even microbreweries. Along with that, unfortunately, a lot of potholes, pollution, traffic, and so on. But that's another story, maybe how KM can help improve civic life. So, in the last 20 years, the Bangalore K community has seen very exciting changes both in technology and business models. For example, we began with Yahoo email e-groups many years ago. In fact, Vinay used to work for Yahoo, my co-founder. Then we went through the smartphone era, the social media era, now AI, Gen AI. So knowledge management has survived right through and reinvented itself with each technology change. We also had different business models: crowdsourcing, co-creation, personal knowledge management, and so on. These are all different ways in which technology has changed each one of us. Today, we have an outstanding set of speakers. We have Ashish Kanal, who's going to give us a keynote address. He's got a very illustrious career with companies such as Indigene and so on. Then we have Ved Prakash, chairman of the Knowledge Management Global Network, sharing with us some updates from KMG and around the world. This is a network across 25 plus countries of professionals in KM, AI, and so on. Then we have a panel discussion with Mohan Kumar Narayanan from KM the group at Tata Elixir. And from the Philippines, we have Benedict Giuliano, Manager at the Indra Group, joining us. We're going to begin, however, with five outstanding startup pitches. We have with us Ranjan Kumar, founder of Decision X AI, Shrikant Ravintula, founder of Adapt AI, Preeti Singh, founder of Hire Fast, Sagar Madhani, founder of Syringe.ai, Saurav Kumar, founder of Early Jobs. You can see 200 pitch decks of startups who've pitched over the last 3 or 4 years at our website, mixer.world/pitch decks. So please do check out this website and you can see more information. As Manasi mentioned, we are mixer.world and we are based on what we call the innovation conversation. We begin with what's new in this field of knowledge and enterprise management and how AI startups can fit here. We begin with pitches by five startups. Then we take a look at how well does it actually work? How does KM integrate with AI in different organizations? And finally, how do we scale all of this stuff through our panel discussion? A few words about myself. I've published 3 books about knowledge management myself, as well as digital media. So I have a personal and professional interest in this space with a lot of passion. Now the hard work begins. Let's begin with what our startups are doing, what the companies are doing, and how can we all work together to advance the knowledge advantage for all of us as organizations, individuals, and societies. So with that, I proceed with the rest of the sessions. Mansi, back to you.
Thank you so much, everyone. So let's start with the pitches. And the first pitch would be Ranjan Kumar. Can you please share your screen? Yeah.
Sure, sure. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ranjan, founder and CEO at DecisionX. So at DecisionX, what we are doing is primarily building this decision AI for enterprise, and within that, strategy and analytics team is primarily what we build for. Think of it like a decision infrastructure, and historically, companies have been building BIs. Then there has been conversational BI, and then there is agentic reasoning engines. So decision intelligence or decision AI is primarily about how companies can use this to their advantage in terms of making much more confident and clearer decision. Currently, we are world's number two in terms of hardest enterprise reasoning benchmark in the world. It's a decision infrastructure that is helping a lot of companies. Some of our customers are Dr. Reddy Labs, Tablespace, Zoop Money. At enterprise space, we are sort of helping them make a lot more confident decisions. So that's like a high level view about what we are doing. What we are solving for is, think of this, that every company has a lot of tools, a lot of data, and you have got data which is sitting in silos and the context which is sitting in silos. And when it comes to decision making, leadership always has this question that either I can make clearer decision where I have to merge in all this context across all these data sets and silos that exist, or I can make very fast decision. What ends up happening is that the decision quality gets diluted, and this bunch of data points estimated to about creating 8 to 10% revenue loss across enterprise. Slow decisions, sort of, we all have been always looking at it, that it costs up to 5% of annual revenue. And the bottom point out of that is that why it happens is the right side of the screen, where essentially, if a CXO has to make decision, essentially things that they today struggle with is that your data is in context and setting silos, there is analyst dependencies. I want to make a forecasting, it takes a 45 days kind of a time. Business context lies with the decision maker, but the ability to reason out of a data lies with the analyst. So this context handoff is sort of messy affair. The file formats and data between structured and unstructured data is a complex thing, so that takes a lot of time. So these are some of the decision bottleneck that exist today. Coming to the second part, where essentially what it means hence for the strategy and analytics team, right, in terms of challenges that exist. So I talked about fragmented context, that a chief of staff or a strategy team wants to know that I want to increase my sales by 20% next quarter. They essentially will have to go from 3 CRMs, 4 data pipelines to look at ops, finance, marketing, sales, and there is no system which allows you to cross reason. Um, the other thing being every quarterly decisions are being made, and that does not persist. Essentially, every next quarter, there is no follow through to the decision that has been made, or it's sitting in some of the decks, and there's no way to trace back that the decisions that has been made, how effective those are there. There are a lot of invisible blind spots in the company which is cross-functional in nature. So think of it like my quarterly sales, if it has to go low, then the signs of that in terms of pipeline, in terms of growth funnel, in terms of top funnel sort of starts being visible very early, but most of the time there is a post facto quarter end post-mortem or RCA that is being done. And hence those blind spots sort of compounds and the failure happens, and post that only we are able to act. So blind spot, early tracing, and sort of being able to act early is sort of a lot of value, and one thing that today's strategy and analytics team sort of struggle with. So what we sort of, a lot of people try to bring AI and solve it through AI. So what people have done is 24, 25, a lot of companies went about applying straight up LLMs to their data warehouses, their data lakes, and what it led to was essentially the data layer has been created, but LLMs, when it is applied to the data, both structured and unstructured, led to that it does not know, AI does not know what to look for. So if I say that I want to increase my sales by 20% next quarter, it does not know in your organization what are the key drivers of the sales. And usually these drivers are complex, these are multi-layered. So what you require is a unified context layer that has been the missing component. And in lack of that, what happens that all of this automation goes for toss, and AI ends up hallucinating because it does not know what to look for. So it's not a model problem, it's a context infrastructure problem. Things looks good at POC, breaks at scale in production. There's no unified ontology. So what it leads to is that for me, YTD might mean something, for somebody else, YTD might mean something else. So there's a lot of multiple levels of truths that gets created in the company. And ultimately, what it leads to is that the AI adoption does not happen across end users because they feel that the answers are generic, it is hallucinating. So at best, people have been using AI to the extent of summarization, to the extent of reading files, but not really to the potential where you can reason using it. Now, a bunch of options, like one can go about building, buying, the cost of building is very high, the lead time is very high, adoption and kind of being able to use it for business advantage is the crucial thing. So with this as a context, the whole landscape of decision AI is pretty much, there are tools which are vertical AI point tools like BI tools, like vertical SaaS tools like Salesforce, Anaplan, Workday, Tableau. Then you've got a lot of isolated BI and reporting tool is where the world has been, and that's on the left side of the matrix. Again, very Power BI kind of things. The right side, you see connected decision wise, there's been a lot of analytics platform that has come in where they are able to answer a lot of what questions. Like I can say March 24, what was the sales? It will give me the answer. Decision AI infrastructure primarily looks at, can it answers why? Can it tell me next best action? Can it tell me hence what I'm supposed to do? Can it tell me if I do this, this is likely to happen? So there is a lot of scenario planning. There is a lot of stress testing of decision that one needs to do on the data that exists together. So that's what we are building, the decision AI infrastructure for a company to be able to make sharper decision. And that brings me to what we do at Decision X is this whole infrastructure where you've got data lake, you've got bunch of data warehouses. We become this unified context layer on top of it, which sort of brings together all these data points, plugs across your third-party apps, plugs across all your data warehouses, and create this unified context layer that we call as cognitive ontology. This context layer sort of self-learns across all the reasoning that's happening in the data. It basically builds the causal relationship between marketing sales. So let's say marketing increased by 5%, what happens to sales? What does my historical trend of data sort of says? It becomes the living graph, causal graph of your business. It understands your business process. It understands who does what. It understands the incrementality between different departments and different KPIs. So that becomes the core USP that we deliver. From an application standpoint, how you can use it is pretty much it's a conversational chat platform where it continuously tracks for all kinds of blind spots that exist within the organization. So let's say,
Ranjan, you got 1 minute. 1 minute.
yeah.
Yeah, you have 1 minute left to pitch, Ranjan.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first thing it does is it can surface blind spots across your organizational data. So early signals of things that are likely to break. Second, you can track all kinds of market macro movements that's happening from third-party sources or public data. You can do strategic reasonings, not just BI, but you're able to do reasoning where you can do RCA, you can run correlations, you can do optimization, all of that through a chat. And then you can build it into decision artifacts, which is like reports, charts, all that stuff. You can do that and share and collaborate with the team. Um, Cognitive ontology, we talked about pretty much self-learning contextual layer that it provides. Then you've got multi-agent infrastructure, which can run RCA correlation. You can ask that forecast next quarter sales that I'm likely to have. You want to do RCA, why sales went down, all of that you can do. So basically, it's a AI that does contextual reasoning for you 24/7. And we are built for zero data ops effort. So we have a lot of data ops agents for ETL operations, cleaning up your data files. So it doesn't matter how messy your formats are, what kind of formats are, is it a PDF, numerical data tables, all of that we take care of and prescriptively self-learns system to create this final ontology. We are a team of 10 members, essentially a lot of multiple time founders. I've done it for 3 times for the last 15 years. I'm doing this. And rest of the team is pretty much ex-founders who have built and scaled AI companies in past. So that's pretty much from our side. Looking for partnerships, enterprise level, ecosystem level to drive decision AI being the frontier tech that we have to offer to the world. Thank you.
Very nice, Ranjan. Thanks. Very impressive how many corporate clients you already have, and you're world number 2 in your category. That's very impressive. I'm sure many people in the audience will want to reach out to you. We'll connect you to them. Afterwards, do stay online. We've got some more discussion coming after all the pitches are done. In fact, let me move on now to Shrikant. Shrikant from Adapt AI. Shrikant, you have the floor now. You got exactly 5 minutes.
Mila. Yeah, today sure. I'm thrilled to guide you through our platform. Let's begin by signing in.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Please let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Not yet.
Our platform is crafted to help users. Yeah, you're able to see my screen?
Not yet. We see a black screen.
We can see the screen, but not the presentation.
I'm seeing that.
Shrikant, if you have gone full screen, come out
Screen,
of full screen.
that the screen is paused. Is it visible now?
Yeah.
Now you can go full screen.
So thank you all. Thanks for inviting me into this, and thanks for Mr. Rao for giving me this opportunity to present Adapt AI. So I'm Shrikant here. I'm representing Adapt. I'm the founder and CEO of Adapt. So what we are building in Adapt is an unified AI intelligence layer. It's a one single platform for all the AI models, mainly targeting enterprises or individuals to actually save their overall AI cost at the same time, bring the required quality what they're getting in the current AI models. So what are the problems that we're trying to solve in is mainly enterprises are actually having huge AI costs. They are spending more than $200 per month flat, and they're using multiple models for different purposes. And they are completely locked within the single ecosystems. So which is even for enterprises, it's very difficult for them to migrate to different AI ecosystems. The cost is quite huge. And also there are multiple tools for different purposes. Each individual AI excel in a different aspect. and using different tools for different purposes is quite it's actually costing them a lot, and also it's creating a lot of difficulty for managing the overall credits actually. So other problem is basically that the data is quite the data is quite scattered. It has been stored in different areas, and also protecting this particular data, there is no customization that is available for enterprises to actually manage the data in terms of sending it to the existing public AI models. And the fourth one is the current AI models are quite monotonous. That is, you post a query and you'll get a response. But the today AI models are not actually analyzing your data in the backend, and it is not giving you any suggestions or recommendations. So that's exactly what we are trying to do in with Adapt.ai. So Adapt.ai, we are building an AI router intelligence, which actually integrates with all the existing models today. It analyzes the cost of each and every model, and it understands the complexity, the intent, and also the requirement of the end user while they're posting any query, and it actually routes that particular query to the right models so as to it can save the cost. So while doing this, it also considers the cache, the history, and also overall enterprise data in terms of understanding the query, and gives you a complete holistic answer so that the enterprises can take a more effective decisions there. So it's a one place for all models. You need not really switch to OpenAI or Claude for different purposes. You just simply come to Adapt and you'll get the required answers. And for the data, we are actually embedding the data layer also within the Adapt platform. So you generally upload Excel sheet or you connect to a database and you try to get the insights. But with Adapt, you can actually create the data sets within the platform, and you pull the data from different sources, and you can actually generate the AI insights. So, and also you can control the data within Adapt platform, which one need to be sent to these existing public models, or which one can be controlled. So likewise, you can have a complete control on this entire data from your side. So this is really helpful for enterprises where they want to do a lot of analytics, or they want to to implement AI to understand their huge data actually. And since the data is already stored in Adapt, so it actually, we also have the monitoring mechanism where the AI continuously monitors the data, and it gives you if there are any spikes or any downs, it actually helps you in terms of suggesting you or pushing you to take any actions. So it's not only one way, it is a two-way communication that will happening from Adapt side. So this is how it works. First, you need to connect to the knowledge bases. You need to set up your data sets, connect to your data sources, and bring the data, set your knowledge base, and then you can straight away ask the queries, and the AI router will actually differentiate.
You have 1 minute left.
Sorry.
You have 1 minute left.
Yeah. So it can actually segregate the models, and it can give you the required answers. So the area is quite huge. So we are actually entering into 12 billion market at an AI middleware, and for AI expansion, we are going for AI powered collaborations, and we are building a complete AI infrastructure in the future. That's a long term view for us. So these are the quite differentiators with the existing platforms, so like GenSpark, POE, Dust, Clean. These are our existing competitors which can actually pivot into this model. Our model is basically in terms of subscriptions, AI credits, and API accesses, so that enterprise can use this intelligence, and they can actually get one single ecosystem deployed, so that they can get all the AI benefits as well. So yeah, we already into the market. We already have 15 plus partnerships, across South Africa, Kenya, and all, and we have almost 16 plus clients who are signed up, and we are working with 3 plus enterprises, to actually deploy this solution within their enterprises. So we are about to launch our open model, just like OpenAI, to the end users. So that is something which is pending, which will be doing it in the next 3 months.
Time is up.
Yeah. So this is our team. Yeah. Rajat and Ritesh are heading the product and AI. Yeah. And this is what we are looking in for actually. Yeah. And open
Great,
for
thanks,
discussion. So
Shrikant. We now turn to our next speaker, Preeti from Higher Fast. Preeti, over to you.
yeah. Yep.
Okay. I think Mr. Shrikant, you have to stop sharing your screen so that I can then share my screen.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
You'll have 5 minutes to pitch. I'll remind you when you have 1 minute left. So
Understood.
yeah, you can use that time to just wrap up to your ask or any connections that you're specifically looking for. So yeah.
Understood. Understood. Thank you so much, Mansi. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Preeti here. I am here pitching hirefast.ai, which is a AI infrastructure for modern recruiting agencies. This is the team, myself, Preeti. I am the founder, CEO for HireFast. I have more than 15 plus years of experience in recruiting and advisors from a leading hiring agency in Hyderabad, and also a founder who has recently raised for himself. Now, the hiring agency's growth is mainly restricted by the human capacity. So, a typical process in the hiring agency's work that they get a job from the customer, they scout some resumes or applications, do the resume screening. The HR will call them manually. Then they will do the manual scheduling interview. So even before they reach to round one, there are almost 90 HR minutes which is spent on a single candidate. Now that's where HireFast comes into picture with its agentic workflows, where we are changing these HR minutes with AI. We are doing AI resume screening. The pre-assessment is done through WhatsApp chats or emails, where any gaps in the existing resume is filled, which is followed by a AI interview. Now what we get together is like a insights, which is not just linked on the keywords mapping for the screening. Now we are doing candidate to candidate comparison. We have advanced proctoring and integrity scores enabled into the platforms. So overall, for round one, only 7 minutes of HR minutes are needed. So that's a lot of time saving, where they can expand the same resources to hire more number of positions. Now this is the actual screenshots from the platform, where we are telling that you get a decision ready hiring intelligence. So you get skill mapping, resume fit, skill based interview scoring, and you also get audio, video, and transcription for the entire interview. So there is no manual scheduling or to and fro that goes into the interview process. You can Candidate can perform the interview at their convenience, and you can review whenever you have all the applications available with you. Our business model is based on penetration first. We are working with per interview pricing. There are other models that we will be extending in the coming months, which are by integrating to the existing models or the infrastructure that the hiring agencies are having. That could be their existing ATS systems, CRMs. We are working on an in-house advanced proctoring level, where by 99 or 100% accuracy, we can do any cheat or fraud detection.
Sorry to interject.
Preeti,
I don't
we
think
can't see your slide. Can you just show your slide? We can't see the slide, the most recent one.
Okay. I'm so sorry for this. Let me just share it once again. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope it's visible. Yes.
you have 1 minute left also. So yeah.
Understood. So this is a very competition intense area, but what we have observed is that adoption is poor, that we are catering by being very, very price competitive. The opportunity is huge. We believe that even just by capturing 1% of the present India market, we will reach the 3 crore ARR by end of 1 year. This is the present traction. We have 2 paid customers. We have 1 paid pilot with an agency where the number of employees are 250 plus. Now, this agency is again based in Hyderabad. So these are a couple of the companies which we have reached so far through the agencies. The product roadmap
Last
is,
10 seconds.
yes, building towards data moat and improving our fraud detections and multidimensional assessments. This is the ask where we are looking for 0.5 million USD to scale up to 60K MRR per month. And for 50% of this, we want to invest into product development and infra, 30% into marketing, and 20% in expanding the present stuff. We are trying to cut the timelines by 90% and reducing the human bias which exists with the hiring agencies right now. And we want you to join our journey. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Preeti. That was a very good presentation. You've sketched out a very competitive space, as you mentioned, but it's definitely very fast moving. Everyone's looking at where's the next job? How do I get a job? So I think you're in the right place at the right time. Thanks, Preeti. We move on now to our next of the two presentations that are left. Sagar Madani, founder of Syringe.ai. Sagar, over to you.
Hi, very good afternoon. Have a lovely one. Thank you so much for having me here. Now, I'll quickly run you through with what we have built and where we are heading. So just let me know if you can hear me well. My
Yeah,
screen is
yes.
visible, right? Yeah. Now, a lot of folks over here who either having a business or who are an angel investor or who have some sort of connection with other businesses, marketing is one of the most thankless job that all the companies have. And in this marketing, everything is subjective to the manpower you hire. More the skilled labor, more expensive it becomes. And if you look at from a broader perspective, the larger landscape of India's MSME, whereas the world's MSME, the small medium businesses, they don't have access to those kind of talent pool. So what is it that they are doing to get their marketing up? Because the digitalization of businesses is growing aggressively day by day. We are entering into a very heavy digital age. And with that vision, we have been incubated at ISB. Right now, I'm in ISB. For the next 6 months, I'll be operating my entire business from ISB. So we are incubated by ISB. We are a part of 888 VC Grow It and a couple of other companies who are supporting us in the vision that we have developed. Now, the first thing I want to address to you guys, because this is the most common question I have been asked from the customers. Why you and why not Claude? Why not OpenAI? Before we go to this slide, this is very important because this is my third startup. In my previous startup, I have invested 10 years of my life doing just one job, which is organic social media marketing for a good amount of brands globally. Now, we just had one job to uplift the brand's presence, drive revenue through organic marketing channels. And my co-founder, who comes with another 10 years of experience of building software. So I am coming from marketing, he is coming from tech, and together we have involved a new set of entity called SI Technologies into a MarTech sector, which is solving the larger need of the market. And with that comes here the main difference of why us and why not your generic AI. First thing first, nothing is addressing to Indian market as such, where everything is focused on SMBs, small medium businesses, MSMEs, and how they think and what they want. Second of all, they don't have an entire end-to-end workflow. 90 to 95% of the chunk is directed towards ads. But the organic marketing, nobody is talking about. If you guys are familiar with the marketing space, Instagram recently launched a new update where you can buy subscription to avoid ads. What does that mean? That all the brands will divert their money towards organic content growth. And that's where Syringe is being positioned right now. And with that, I come to another point where manpower is very fragile in nature, where with certain opportunity, they will leave. And with that, the asset will be with the company, but the memory will be gone with that manpower. And that's where Syringe comes into the picture, because we are not just building a wrapper. What we are building is a constant memory which will compound in organic marketing nature with time as in how you do campaign. And right now, if you want to do an organic social media marketing campaign, you will either go to an agency or you will hire an in-house team or you will do everything by yourself on Canva, ChatGPT, Claude, etc. There is no fourth way where you're just sitting and things happen. And that's where Syringe comes from, a domain expertise plus tech expertise, building into space that we have worked for the last 9 years. And that's where we introduce Syringe AI, which is very vertical in nature, solving one problem: social media marketing for digitally active businesses who do not want to have any sorts of overhead marketing team cost. And how does that work? In the most simplified language, we divide it into 4 parts. The first part is you come, you register your brand. So I know who you are Nike. Then in the next step, you add all the brand product and the brand description that you have, just like how you will tell your employee that, you know what, this is what we are selling. So I know what you are selling. In the third part, you come and you add a campaign description. So with that, that's a creative brief coming from you. And with just that, Syringe will do your content strategy, content planning, content calendar, content creation, posting that content on social media, and tracking the entire analytics all by itself. And it all happens in less than 10 minutes. And with that, we have two business model. One is a subscription. Second is a service based, where if you don't want to manage the tech, we have our professional marketers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last 1 minute.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Oh, beautiful. With that, we have a concierge service where you can just appoint a resource and that person will do it all. And last but not the least slide, we are heading towards building our own small language model for creative intelligence that will become your one-stop solution for all your advertising needs globally. So that's who we are. That's what we do.
Thanks so much, Sagar. With that, we come to our last presentation of the evening. I want to welcome Saurav. Saurav Kumar is the founder of Early Jobs. Saurav, you got 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, now it's there.
Yeah. So at Early Jobs, we are building India's largest AI-powered distributed recruitment network and district-level franchise ecosystem, enabling companies to hire faster through trained women recruiters supported by AI-driven voice and a video screening. So how we started before Early Jobs, we were running the recruitment agency called Victim Services Private Limited, and we were getting a lot of applications, call, and the message from the women, those who lost their job after getting marriage, relocation, or the maternity. So what we saw that there are many women apart from them that in tier 2, tier 3 cities, they got graduate, they become graduate, postgraduate, but they don't have the ample opportunity to work remotely. So we decided that we will start this opportunity and give them the opportunity to work remotely, source the candidates for many companies, because recruitment is not something a rocket science. They just need training, basic training, laptop, internet, that's it. So we built a platform and named it Early Jobs. And in first meeting, we called around 55 women recruiters in webinar, and we said that, hey, what we are building, we don't know, but we are just trying to help you out so you can work remotely permanently. And 33 of them, they joined and they started working. And currently we are having around 500 women recruiters hiring for 200 plus companies. They have sourced around 40,000 candidates and 8,000 plus selection, 3,000 plus joinings. So sometimes what we saw that in tier 2, tier 3 cities, there are many students, they don't have the opportunity for the campus hiring, or they don't have the near job openings. So we are going through our franchise network. We are opening the 700 plus franchise in each districts. So anyone who is graduate, they can come to the nearest place and they get placed. At Early Jobs, we have built a platform where anyone can apply for the job. We have the AI hiring platform, Recruiter Franchise Network. And for the college, we have the college TPO login where they can upload their candidates data who is looking for the job. So what services like we are giving the recruitment service, we are having the franchise model, we are having the freelance woman recruiter network, and AI which build their resume and also conduct 15 minutes of the interview. In India, we know that from the tier 2, tier 3 cities, candidates come, they have the anxiety before attending any interviews and also lack of confidence. So this AI interview conduct 15 minutes and give the complete details, because in India, even candidate gets selected or rejected, no one gives the feedback why they get rejected. This AI give them the complete report. We call it like X-ray report, so they can prepare for the final interview. Here we have the recruitment commission, where we charge between 3,000 rupees to 8.33% depend on the company and the categories. Currently, we are hiring for the SaaS companies, GCC, retail companies, BPO, healthcare, and the manufacturing sectors. So traction, as I said, we have conducted around 40,000 interviews, 3,000 placements. We trained around 1,700 freelance women recruiters, out of 500 are currently working. We sold 25 district franchise, in which 12 are operational, remaining are upcoming. So we are looking for 2 CR, the funding currently as the bridge round, and which will be used for the franchise network expansion, national scale, like college partnership, marketing, PR, and the team operations. As a team, I'm the founder, Saurav, who is having the experience of 10 plus year as entrepreneur. Before early jobs, I was running company called Victim and Services, which was into software development, digital marketing, and the recruitment. Apart from that, I was running the training program from the central government project, DDU-GKY. Currently, I'm entering to IIM Bodh Gaya, and I have also team members like Ravi, who was the director of Victorman, Sankar Gaur. He was the ex-associate director of Accenture, and currently he is the non-executive director at Early Jobs. We are having Deepanjana, Sasank, Akanksha, Surbhi, and Prasav. So how we work? We work like
Your
companies
time.
give their requirements.
Sorry, I think you're out of time. Can you just wrap up?
So company give us the requirements. We post it on our portal. The women recruiters who is working work for us, they source the candidate, they screen the candidate, they coordinate with the candidates till the interview. And once candidate gets joined, company pay to us. We pay 70% of our revenue to the recruiters. In 2026, we are aiming to have 10,000 plus women recruiters, and this will be completely supported by our AI voice calling and the video screening to them. At here at Mixer, I'm looking for some of the connections. Any company who is looking for the hiring, they can contact us.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Saurav. With that, we come to the end of 5 outstanding pitches. I'm very impressed by how the platform economy and AI together are giving new kinds of opportunities for large companies, for startups, and so on. For those of you joining our Bangalore K community for the first time, you're getting a very good flavor of Bangalore. In fact, today I just finished in this room conducting a half-day workshop for student entrepreneurs. So that's the poster behind me, the Thai Young Entrepreneurs Program. So these are for students who want to become entrepreneurs, who want to launch their own products, their own services, their own companies. So these are very exciting times for creative people in the field of innovation and knowledge management. Speaking of which, we now need to turn to our keynote speaker. Ashish Kanal is now with us, and he's going to share with us some of his thoughts on data, AI strategy, knowledge, and impact. Ashish, over to you. Sort of, you can stop
Thanks,
sharing.
doctor.
Ashish, over to you. Thanks.
Just give me a sec. Let me bring up my deck. Please let me know if it's
Yeah.
you can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, great. Thanks, doctor. So let me start with three numbers. See, almost every company is investing in AI currently, but only 1% say they are truly mature in deployment. Only 23% can tie generative AI to revenue gain or cost reduction. And only 39% report EBITDA impact at the enterprise level. So the problem is not that AI is failing. The problem is that most organizations are trying to scale intelligence on top of weak knowledge foundations. And that is what I call the real story. We have become very good at buying AI. We are still surprisingly really bad at governing knowledge. And when those two things collide, what we are getting is something very dangerous. So we are getting systems that sound intelligent, they are moving quickly, and are still wrong. And that's the problem that where we are. A lot of organizations right now are AI rich and are knowledge poor. They have co-pilots, retrieval layers, semantic search, pilots for agents. Some are already experimenting with agentic workflows also across, say, IT, knowledge management, different databases like clinical operations, which is like why one of the functions that McKinsey says AI uses now among the most reported. But when you start asking the harder question inside those same organizations, that is where the trouble starts. So, are your people actually trusting the answer? Do they know what source it came from? Do they know who owns it? Do they know where it is current, whether it is current? Do they know what has changed from the last time that they accessed that specific information or knowledge? If there is hesitation while answering those questions, then that is what the signal is projecting. Those demos, those dashboards, pilots, everything count. But the problem is that hesitation. Because what most organizations are calling knowledge today is just content that has survived way too long and has been storing in databases, but it's not the same thing. What we are looking for as a business head. And this is where I want to push back on traditional corporate KM. See, for too long, KM has been treated like a repository problem. So we have been capturing more, we have been classifying better, improving the search, working like let's build one more portal, write one more lessons learned deck, which nobody may read after all. So that model was weak even before AI. Now, what is happening is it is starting to become a liability because AI does not care whether your knowledge is meaningful. What it actually cares is whether your patterns are retrievable. So if your repository is full of outdated content, duplicated advice, ownerless policies, lessons, case studies stripped of context, AI will not fix that. It will just operationalize it. Earlier, bad knowledge sat quietly in folders. Now it is answering the questions very confidently. So people are not looking for content. What they are looking for is judgment support. And the people whom I am referring to are the folks who are sitting across the table while having a discussion with a potential client. So at that precise moment, what they need is like, what should I do right now? Has this issue been solved before? What failed the last time? What risk am I looking into? What changed since the last version of the knowledge which I am accessing? All of these are like decision problems. And this is where most KM systems are breaking. They tell you what exists, they don't, but the thing is that they are not exactly telling you why a decision was made, under what constraints, with what trade-offs, and whether it is still valid at the moment. That missing layer is context. And that context is what makes knowledge reusable, not documents, volumes, or a higher article count. Plain, simple context. So, what's happening is AI doesn't understand truth. What it understands are patterns which I mentioned earlier. So, if your knowledge is inconsistent, outdated, or incomplete, AI will still generate an answer with full confidence. And that is what we are calling as hallucination. So, earlier, bad knowledge was ignored. Now, unfortunately, bad knowledge is getting way too amplified. And most organizations are believing that they have a KM strategy. But unfortunately, what I call that is more of a performative KM. Like there are dashboards, contribution matrix, content counts. All of this is looking active and creates the illusion of progress. But if you are asking that one critical question, does this change how a decision was made? And if the room is going quiet, there lies the problem. So let me say this quite part out aloud. Game usually fails because of incentives, not the intent. No one is getting promoted for cleaning a broken taxonomy. No one gets rewarded for keeping knowledge current. No one is getting penalized when outdated information keeps circulating. Leaders say knowledge matters, but what they measure is speed, output, delivery, and headcount efficiency. So people are learning fast. Knowledge work is basically invisible work. Invisible work is something which keeps getting deprioritized. And then we act surprised when the system is unreliable. So if nobody's credibility, performance, or role ownership is tied to knowledge quality, the entire knowledge program is simply a hope that it will perform uh, when it's required, when the client deadline hits. So let me give you a very real public example because this is where the conversation gets real. In around 2024, Air Canada was found liable after its chatbot gave a customer incorrect information, and that too about the bereavement fares. So the company was taken to court, and they argued that the chatbot was a separate legal entity. We are not responsible and for its actions. But unfortunately, the tribunal rejected it. Air Canada remained responsible for the information on its site, whether delivered by a human written page or, for that matter, a chatbot. But how does that matter in this AI, in this KM keynote? See, the thing is that because that was not just an AI failure, it was basically a knowledge governance failure. The model was not reinventing the organizational problem, it actually revealed the issues. So, somewhere in that system, accuracy, ownership, policy, integrity, all of those weak points that got churned and that showcased when the specific customer, that grieving customer, was accessing the information from the chatbot. And that is what a lot of AI risk actually looks like, a polished answer sitting on top of unmanaged knowledge. So, if I have to concise this, the deeper lesson is that when AI gives a wrong answer, the question is not just why did the model say that? The question should be what is our knowledge system made of that the answer what possible. That is the level senior leaders need to operate at. And if you think this particular incident which I mentioned is a one-off, every organization in this room already has got incorrect knowledge being used somewhere. The only difference is it is just hasn't surfaced publicly yet. I have seen organizations with hundreds of lessons learned documents. Those are well structured, well written. Unfortunately, not many people use them because they answer what happened, not why those specific decisions were made. Again, going back to the same argument, without context, knowledge is not reusable. So teams repeat mistakes with full repositories sitting behind them. And let's be honest, how many of you have seen the same mistake happen twice, even though you knew it already happened before? Let's look at what's happening globally. Almost everyone is investing in AI, but only a few small percentage can link it to real business outcomes, which means most AI programs today are not just transformation. They are expensive experiments that haven't been forced to prove their value yet. And over here, ownership is the missing layer. If no one is accountable for the knowledge, no one trusts it. And if no one is going to trust it, no one uses it. So ownership is not a naming exercise. It is a consequence system. If knowledge is wrong, something should happen. Most KM systems, they depend on people doing extra work. We keep asking specific teams, please document your learnings, please document the case studies, please document your best practices. That sentence alone is killing KM because it comes after the work is done. By then, knowledge is already gone. So, what works is simple: capture the knowledge at the decision points during trade offs, escalations, and uncertainty. That's where the real knowledge lives. Not, I will say, not at the end of project summaries. And this should be obvious, right? So, do not deploy AI on knowledge you don't trust. But is it? Well, organizations are deploying AI on unmanaged content, unmanaged knowledge, and they are expecting intelligent outcome. That's not what transformation looks like. Unfortunately, that's acceleration of chaos. So AM is not supposed to be a function, a support function anymore. It is supposed to be a control layer. It should determine what knowledge gets used, how decisions are made, and how risk flows through the organization. Coming to my last slide. So if your knowledge management strategy is still focused on content, you're already behind. But if your AI strategy is moving faster than your knowledge system, you're already scaling risk. And the organization that will win here will not be the ones with the best AI. Because in the end, every organization has knowledge. The question is which part of it you are willing to bet your decision on.
Thanks, Ashish. You highlighted a lot of very important principles for successful KM and successful AI, such as KM should not require extra effort. People should take ownership and accountability of knowledge, otherwise, the AI won't work. Don't believe just confidence. AI gives answers both right and wrong with confidence. So make sure you don't do things too confidently alone. We can now open up for questions, comments. Anybody would like to ask Ashish any questions, please jump in right away. And he's here to answer a few questions before he leaves us in about 5 or 10 minutes. So, Ved, Rudy, anyone with questions? Otherwise, I have one for you. Where would you begin? What is the first starting point for those who already have a KM system and now want to integrate AI into it? Should they begin with use cases first, pilots, KM strategy? Where should it begin, Ashish?
Yeah, I will say go in, have those conversations with your business teams. Understand where the problem lies, where they are finding the difficult scenarios, and then target those as pilot projects. Don't rush into it. Because I have seen, I mean, to be very honest, all of us, we have things to comply. There are KPIs to be taken care of, but go have those conversations, understand where the things are failing, where the things are breaking, start building the knowledge framework right at the base level where the projects are. And that is where the first pilot project can be a success and then scale it up from there.
Great. What are some of the best examples you've seen of companies who've integrated the KM and AI very well? You may choose your own company also if you wish.
I don't want to specifically name a company. There are things wherein after leaving the organization after a particular project or after a particular instance, things might have changed at the ground level. So you never know how things are at the moment. But I have worked in one of the largest FMCG companies earlier. And over there, I have seen, I won't say exactly AI, but I have seen the frameworks being built diligently. So we had, I say, R&D center. So there were specific problems which were there pertaining to the products which were being sold on the shelf in the supermarkets. So the packaging and everything was taking a hit. So when we started evaluating that, we realized that there are instances where such solutions have been or such issues have been dealt with in the past. We just brought that up and started working towards it, and that was one of the pilots which gained traction, and then it got expanded to more projects within the R&D framework, and then subsequently to the sales team, to the marketing team. But it took quite a few years. It wasn't like in a week's time, in a month's time, it happened. And at that time, AI wasn't there, but what was there was RPA tools, machine learning, and all. So we had plugged all of those and built a chatbot on top of that. Though I will say the chatbots which are available right now are much more, much faster, they can do the crawling much better. The LLMs are way much more superior. But at the same time, they are hallucinating a big time. That is also the fact.
Wow, success comes with hallucination. Okay, anyone else got any questions, or we need to move on to our next speaker? Thanks, Ashish. That was a very good keynote session. We hope you can share your slides with us afterwards for sharing with our other attendees also. Thanks so much. We do hope you can stay on for further discussion with
Yeah,
our other
Madan, I will
speakers.
like to hear
Yeah.
Mr. Ved Prakash's note.
Yeah, wait, you got something to say, or?
No, that is it.
That's it.
Thanks.
Yes. Okay. Let's go on to Ved now. Our next speaker is Ved Prakash, who is the current head of the Knowledge Management Global Network, the current chairperson of KMGN, which is a global network across KM associations in more than 20 countries. Ved is going to give us an update now on what's happening with KMGN and what are some of the upcoming activities for the next quarter or two and for the rest of the year. Ved, over to you.
Thanks, Madan. So, I guess some of you would have heard about KM Global Network, some would not have. So, basically, as the name implies, it's a network of knowledge management networks from around the world. It is now present in close to 40 countries. There are more than 20 formal associations which are a part of it. Plus, there are individual countries that align with KM Global Network. So it's a very vibrant community of a lot of KM practitioners coming from very diverse kind of experiences to frame the the way KM is moving forward. So here's a quick update on what has been happening over the last few weeks in KM Global Network. Let me just share my screen. Is it visible? Are you able to see the screen? Yeah, thanks, Madan. So first and foremost, we have something called an annual KM course, exclusively curated by members of KM Global Network for the entire knowledge management community. Right. So the beauty of this course is that it's launched only once in its lifetime. And every year we have a different theme. There is a core team that works on the entire set of topics that will be covered as part of the theme. And it's very, very collaborative in nature, the way it functions. So this year, just as Ashish was talking about from strategy to impact, this was the theme that was taken up here as well, right? So the course started in February. We are midway through. There are a total of 22 sessions. We are done with 12. And the course was divided into 4 different sections around strategy, then change management, which is the set of modules that are going on currently. The next module will be around culture, and then facing the future, right? So what we also do is that it's a paid course. So there is a 50% discount for members coming from the KM Global Network fraternity. Eventually, we post the sessions on YouTube. KM Global Network again has a very, very rich YouTube channel where whatever we do is hosted over there as part of the knowledge sharing sessions that are or the courses. We also have something called a research roundtable. So for the coming back to the course, so there's Moria, Rodolphe, who's I think there in this meet right now, and Vincent from Thailand. They were the coordinators for this year's course. So they have worked extremely hard over several months to come up with the whole thing. Then the speakers are lined up. Uh, the coordinating team continues to work with the speakers to make sure that the right impact is felt by the attendees of the course. Okay. Now, tomorrow we are hosting something called Know Your KM Tech Series. So this is something new from KM Global Network for 2026. There is a lot of demand that has come directly and indirectly from practitioners about, we keep reading about various technologies that are useful to knowledge management, but we'd like to see it in action. So tomorrow is the first session in this particular series. It's a lecture cum demonstration session. In fact, it's a hands-on session. It will be taken by a gentleman from Austria by the name of Manfred. And he happened to be my predecessor as a KM Global Network chair for 2024. So the topic there is how to use Gen AI for structuring and interpreting knowledge. Okay. So all of you here are most welcome to join the session tomorrow. Let me quickly, while we are at it, let me put the link to the details for joining the session. Okay, I've just posted about that. You can have a look at it later. But the joining details are very much there. It's a Zoom session, and there is a full hands-on as well. Okay. Now, this image is from a KM Global Network mini conference that was held last month in Bangkok. So we basically, all of us were there for a Kimpact Forum. This is an international conference organized in Bangkok by chaired by Vincent, who you can see in the image sitting on the right hand. Rodolphe will be talking in more detail about this particular conference, but here I'll focus on one mini conference for KM Global Network that we hosted. So here, we basically did what we called a dreaming session. It was a conference with no agenda, nothing. It was a dreaming session about how is KM going to look like 10 to 15 years from now. Right. And how do we position, if it is going to look like that, how do we position KM as a strategic lever for organizations of different types? So that was what the whole brainstorming was all about. It was also about how do we position KM Global Network for that kind of a future. So we are still sort of putting together all the inputs that came in. Everyone had their own dream about what KM will look like, where its position will be, what we can achieve through KM. And remember, AI has just about begun. It's accelerating at a very rapid pace. We don't even know how the world will look like 10 to 15 years from now. But it was a really interesting mini conference on the sidelines of the Kimpact Forum. So this is an image of some of the discussions happening. Here's another one, us holding hands just to show solidarity amongst the network members. So they're all part of the KM Global Network board. We had half of them fly down from around the world. Yeah. This is from the Kimpact Forum. All the attendees on the final day came together on the stage. And what you see at the bottom is, badges. These are magnetic badges that were distributed to all the attendees. And they did wear it for the 3-day conference. So we continue to excite more and more countries and networks into KM Global Network. So I'm happy to share that this month there are 4 countries that are onboarding. So they are Argentina and Peru from South America, and Uganda and Zimbabwe from Africa, who have come forward and want to join the network. So now we have a total of around 40 countries, more than 20 associations or organized networks who are part of KM Global Network. Plus, we have partner associations as well. So the partner associations range from Stan Garfield's SIKM to we partner with APQC, we partner with Knowledge Summit Dublin, etc., etc. So as we speak, KM Europe is happening. KM World Europe is happening in London. So we are a partner of that particular event as well. So as part of partnership, we are providing some speakers. KM Global Network members are getting discounts on attending the boot camps and the conference over there. So KM Global Network, the board of directors meets on a quarterly basis. So the next meeting is happening on 23rd of April. So all the representatives from networks are part of the board of directors. We all get together and discuss on what has happened during the quarter, as well as what is the outlook for the coming quarters. So that's about the brief KM Global Network update. So back to you, Madan, and any questions we'll be happy to take.
Yeah, thanks, Ved. Which other events did you say we are partnering with? You said one is KM Europe. What are some of the other ones coming up?
Yeah, so I think the big one which we organize is the KM Global Week, which happens in the third week of October, where on an average we have 100 plus events happening in different network members locations. So that's the big one. Otherwise, KM World we are already partnering with, right? Impact Forum, there is another one. We still don't partner with the European Conference on Knowledge Management, etc., which you are probably going to do from next year onwards. So this is more like a knowledge partner as opposed to a financial partner.
Got it. Any other questions, comments from our readers, from our viewers? If you aren't yet a member of KMGN, this is a good time for you to contact Ved separately in the chat window and find out how you can join this outstanding organization. Otherwise, thank you so much, Ved, and we look forward to further updates. We have this meeting of the Bangalore K community every 2 months, so Ved will give us a very good ringside view of what's happening with KM around the world. We move on now with the rest of our program. Unfortunately, two of our next speakers are not available. Rudolph cannot join today for various personal reasons, and one of our panelists, Mansi, can't join either. But luckily, we have two other panelists with us to take us for the next half an hour or so of the panel discussion. We have with us Mohan Kumar Narayanan from Tata Elxsi, and joining us from the Philippines, we have Benedict Giuliano from the Indra Group. So we're very happy to welcome you for the first time, someone from the Philippines. In our group, we try to be international and have a good mix of speakers from around the world. In fact, I noticed we also have some other speakers some other attendees who I haven't seen before. Elian, Francesca, Sangeeta, and Rishel. And I want to ask you to say hello and tell us a bit about yourselves a bit later as you're joining this organization here, this community. So let me begin with our guest from overseas. Benedict, can you begin by telling us a little bit about the Indra Group? Obviously, a lot of Indians think Indra is an Indian name, so we're wondering whether it's an Indian company in the Philippines or some other story behind the company. And tell us about your KM journey. Benedict, over to you. Thanks.
Sure. I joined Indra Group actually just this March. Indra is actually a Spanish-based services and consulting firm. They actually deal in everything from defense to the technology that allows you to pay the fee on the highway by just passing, with the sensor on your car. So my KM journey here is they want to go on a transformation where the transition of IT projects has really been going poorly. So they have established a transition project management group, and I joined them as their knowledge manager. And we're trying to essentially uh, be able to transition more IT projects at the same time with, of course, less cost, less complaints, and the usual lessons learned to kind of scale and keep things sustainable as we move forward. But besides from that, I've had like 20 plus years doing knowledge management for various organizations. So looking forward to this discussion.
Fantastic. Let's turn now to Mohan from Tata Elxsi. Mohan, tell us a bit about Tata Elxsi. I'm sure people know the other large Tata companies, but those of us in design know Tata
Yeah.
Elxsi very well. So tell us a bit
So
about
allow me to just
Elxsi.
present my screen.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, here we are. Thanks.
So hope I'm loud and clear. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. To those in around the world, good evening, good night. So I'm Mohan. I am I'm part of the knowledge management team as well as the knowledge manager at Tata Elxsi. So in this presentation, I'll be telling you about how KM at Tata Elxsi enables sustained innovation, delivery excellence, as well as organizational learning. So bit of a background into what we do. We are a design and engineering services company. We blend design thinking, engineering, and digital technologies in order to deliver world-class products and services across various industries. We have presence in automotive, healthcare, media and communication, rail and marine, manufacturing, and across the various segments that we operate. So, with such a large global presence, and we have such a deep domain technical expertise and such a rich portfolio of IPs, so effective knowledge management is basically very critical for us to scale impact and consistency in across all the engagements that we have, right? So, why KM matters to us? Because we are a knowledge-driven organization, and we believe that valuable insights reside in projects, people, and as well as experiences. So, basically, without KM teams would be reinventing solutions, repeating mistakes, as well as lose valuable tacit knowledge. So KM has really, helped us to deliver, products with reduced risks and improved customer outcomes. So this has, led to a structured and enterprise-wide KM approach. So we have Bodhilayam. So Bodhilayam is the branding of our KM framework. So the name Bodhilayam is inspired from
Sorry, are you
the.
going to the next slide?
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
you going to the next slide? We can see
Yes.
only opening slide here. Maybe need to hit, yeah.
Sorry. I'm on slide 3 now.
Oh, no, we still see only slide 1.
Oh, sorry.
If it's a PDF, you need to scroll down, I think.
Is it
We can see
better
on the
now?
left side the. Yes, now we can see it. Superb, yeah.
Yeah. So Bodhilayam is the name of our KM framework. So the name Bodhi is inspired from the Bodhi tree where Buddha had attained his enlightenment. Nilayam is basically house, right? So we call this as a tree, a house of knowledge. So our KM framework is designed in a way to capture best practices, lessons learned, challenges, and innovation. We also encourage continuous learning and collaboration, and how we proactively convert individual knowledge into organizational wisdom. So we have multiple channels to do this in terms of having employee driven knowledge sharing, to having knowledge repositories in place where we have the knowledge assets of the companies which at the company which is being archived. And we also have a project learning repository that helps us to capture the knowledge from the projects that we execute. And we have a rewards and recognition mechanism in place to ensure the contributors to knowledge are being recognized. So I'm not going to go in detail about each of these initiatives that we have. I'll just touch upon a few key ones which have really worked for us. To begin with, we have something called as a prowess spotlight platform. So this is basically a project showcasing initiative where project teams can showcase what they have done in terms of their project journeys and outcomes, what were the innovations and improvements done, what kind of technical excellence that they have had in the project, especially for the longer running project, what were the critical learnings and what challenges that they have faced, and what were the mitigation steps taken to resolve those challenges are being actively showcased, right? So it can either happen as an online or an offline event. So we will also ensure that this showcasing is tightly integrated to the project excellence award framework that we have. Basically, this is an initiative to recognize outstanding projects. We have a three-level review mechanism in place. So showcasing is a important criterion for a project to win a excellence award. We've also found a mechanism to identify projects who can come and participate. So any project that we execute, there is a customer satisfaction survey which is being sent to the customer. So based on the rating the customer gives, in if there are instances where the rating is more than 4.5 on 5, all of those projects is are being invited. While we generally do, whenever the rating is low, we do an RCA and find out what were the gaps. But it was also important to uh, you know, uh, you know, take the knowledge from the success, right? So the customer centric success storytelling was also quite important in this particular initiative, right? So the next is on project insights. So in order to systematize the learning capture process, no, we have a SharePoint list-based project learning repository. So any project that we execute, there has to be a mandatory submission which has to come into the repository throughout the life cycle of the project. So we ensure that at every 4 month cycle, they have to update the project specific learning, and especially when the project closes, then it has to be mandated. So we track this through our internal project management tool to ensure that knowledge is captured throughout the life cycle of the project. How we do it? We've completely avoided the manual way of capturing. So we have conversations with the respective. It could be with the project lead, it could be with the technical SME, or it could be the program manager. Whoever is available to contribute, we have conversations with them, and then basically the summary of these meetings are taken using Copilot, and then it is being fed into the project insights. So, and validation is quite important. So the respective delivery manager will validate whether the right content is going into the repository. So this helps us ensure that trusted and high quality content is going into the system. So now that we have the knowledge, we've always had these challenges of synthesizing and reusing it. The problem is now that the size of the repository is also increasing over time, and difficulty in getting the right content was becoming a big task. So what we did was we brought in an AI enabled KM solution, which is called as Tiara. Tiara stands for Tata Alexis Intelligent Retrieval Assistant, where it uses AI to index, to interpret, and serve relevant knowledge and learnings to the employees, right? So we have seen significant benefits of basically now that people are able to easily access the project, past project learnings, best practices, and experiences, very easily. And the project managers are having a easier time to have the right project start inputs, especially if there are projects which were operated with a similar scope, and they could find what were the common risks faced in those projects, right? So what happens is we get insights into the technical aspects of it as well, and we ensure that the correct knowledge is coming to them at the right time. So having a AI enabled solution has really made a game changer for us. So now KM is shifting from a passive storage kind of thing and into an active intelligence kind of a situation, right? So while technology is very critical for KM, it is alone is not sufficient. There's a cultural aspect to it as well. So in order to drive knowledge sharing behaviors, we have something called as a KM week. Thanks to KMJN, we have adopted the KM week in our organization as well. So so we do this once or twice a year. So we pick a theme. So what you see here on the flyer is KM week we did for the media and communication vertical. We picked certain themes which are relevant to that BU, and we had the respective BU head and coming and delivering an address about why knowledge management is critical for that BU alone. And we would have subject matter expert conducting masterclass sessions. We would have experts from outside to come and talk about that theme. We would also had some fun activities as well. For whenever we did this launch of the bot, we got teams to do a virtual treasure hunt. We had asked some questions, and they had to use the bot and find out how then where that knowledge piece is actually residing. And we would also recognize KM champions, what we call them as high impact KM contributors. So now this has really helped us to the change the way that people look at KM. It's not just seen as an overhead, so it has inculcate as a part of their everyday work, right? So some of the key success factors that which have helped us in KM is to have clearly defined roles and responsibilities. Has to do who has to do what. So what a knowledge manager has to do. And we have a KM core team. They are basically SPOCs from various BUs. So they are primarily responsible for driving KM events in their respective BUs or locations, and they are also responsible for propagating the importance of knowledge management. We do also have experts. We have the concept of practice or competencies in across the various BUs in our company, and they act as the go-to point of contact in case if we need any technical guidance or a proposal support. They would be the first person to assist us. So the SME list is also fed into the knowledge repository, which they could use the bot to find out who is an expert on which area. Another important aspect is to have a proper measurement and feedback mechanism in place. We do present this quarterly KM metrics analysis to the respective BU teams as well as to the internal quality team. This quality team drives KM at Tata Elxsi. And we would have these surveys, feedback surveys, which are going to the employees on an yearly basis to check whether we are on the right track or not. We've also looked at external benchmarking with APQC as well, and we plan to do one benchmarking with the ISO 30401 standard. And we have a rewarding mechanism which is gamified, and any reward that we give, we ensure that it is in proportion to the type of contribution which is coming into the into KM, right? So, and next is having a very strong governance model in place. So we have three levels of governance here. One within the KM core team, and we would have these reviews which happen with the quality head also on a weekly basis, and we have these management review meetings with the SLT team on a bi-yearly basis. So this ensures that the KM is relevant, it is measurable, and it is also business aligned. So I would like to close my talk saying that KM at Tata Elxsi is now on a track of being more structured and more scalable. And these AI and digital tools are helping us transform KM into a dictionary enabler. So I would say that knowledge in our organization is not just captured, it is continuously being applied to drive excellence and innovation. Yeah, I think that's what I have here for today.
Very nice. Thanks, Mohan. Are there any metrics you would like to share? Any impact areas, success stories kind of thing?
Metrics, I would say, one is the adoption and participation metrics that we track it. And when and in terms of contribution, say for instance, when we did this bot development, we as a POC we looked at only the closed project data, right? So then we looked at the learnings from the live projects that we execute are more critical in nature. So those project insights compliance at the BU level was also critical. So up to this day, and in each BU we are at 80 to 90% compliance, which gets tracked as a part of this metrics. And we would also look at the trend of the usage of the bot in terms of what kind of questions are being asked. And we would have these the flyers going in based on the type of content which is coming in. Say for example, somebody is searching something on ADAS, or they are searching something on medical device regulations. So if we have those patterns coming in, we would proactively hit those employees saying that, and we have new content coming in these areas? Would you want to look at it? So that is the kind of matrices that we look at. And and it is important to get the buy-in from the SLT also, because all of these AI tools, we have these GPUs are needed. We would need access to the AWS to ensure that we give the justification saying that the investment in KM is very critical to the organization.
Great. Let's bring Benedict back into the conversation now. Benedict, would you like to share with us some other highlights of your KM journey, maybe some impact, success factors, and so on? I think you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Well, the topic is transformation and culture, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess it's never really a good idea to not include culture when you're trying to implement some changes, especially when it comes to a knowledge management program. Um, it's, it's almost like, you can't expect people to just suddenly embrace the change unless you're really looking at how you can integrate or embed the practice into what they do in normal work. So I guess the story I can tell is from uh, one of the engineering firms that I worked with. And this was a repository of around 55,000 engineering related items, everything from pictures of their bridges, their technical drawings, and the resumes of their staff. And the usage was very low because the the idea was you would use that repository for your sales pitches, answers to requests for proposals, basically a sales related knowledge base. And when I joined, there was really, people would just reuse their previous proposals and would basically not really leverage the content that was being curated in that knowledge base. And the change that happened was we actually went to discuss with the various sales teams. We really did deep dives and calls with the various stakeholders to see where the challenges were. And by slowly but surely tweaking how we manage that knowledge base, introducing some changes, or maybe really just sitting down and asking them where the challenge was. Sometimes they don't know how to search, sometimes they don't know how to filter the search results to get what they need. We were able to actually increase the usage or the reuse of those curated content. And we were able to actually prove that uh, because even with limited use for requests for proposals, the knowledge base was actually contributing around 30,000. Actually, no, sorry, 30 million, because I need to convert from Australia to US. 30 million US in terms of sales every year. So even though it's only like 1 in 7 proposals that are actually using content from the knowledge base, we were able to actually project. Of course, the revenue is a lot more than just the US 30 million. So the idea still is really you really need to immerse into the teams that you're helping. If you're able to actually meet with the customer, that's actually even better. So for those of you in the IT space, I would always say go down to your call center, go down to the ones that are your frontliners, and see how they actually try to use the knowledge that your team is curating or the one that your program is sponsoring. For any of the other areas that I worked with, HR, legal, it's always best to talk to your key stakeholders and really figure out what is the value that they're looking for when you're doing knowledge services for them. But yeah, culture is very important because without that, the change won't stick and it won't be part of what they would like to do moving forward. Last but not least, I guess, is the lesson on stories. For some reason, when you're able to actually tell compelling stories about why knowledge management is important, people do listen. So you need to find those success stories within your organization. Normally, it's when you enter an organization, there is a very select group of people who really believe in the program and have found value in it. So you really need to capture those stories and relay them to the rest of the organization. Sometimes it just needs to be proclaimed, pushed out, or communicated properly, and it actually, sparks in some other employees or some other team members. And so that's very important, especially when you are able to have those small wins with, say, metrics, maybe a customer win, maybe a customer testimonial, because your the content that you were able to curate was able to help with a sale or a good experience. Those really need to be told and shared and spread across the organization so that you get more traction. I think I'll stop there in case you have questions.
Thanks, Benedict. You mentioned some very good practices right there. One was storytelling. In fact, I meet many people in the game field and they say, "Oh, yeah, we have case studies, we have templates." I say, "No, no, no. This is more than just the logical professional part. You also need the personal part, the storytelling, the emotional part of the whole thing." So, facts are important, but so is the whole story, the wrapper around the whole thing. Do you also have something like what Mohan mentioned, Knowledge Management Week, a knowledge week, where once a year for 1 week or maybe longer, you have a certain special focus and celebration on creativity, innovation, knowledge management, and so on? I know a number of companies have it. Ved's former company Trans has it. Afcons in India also has it. So a lot of services companies do celebrate this stuff. I'm wondering if you also have something to celebrate on an annual basis.
Well, I think the bigger Indra group in Europe has a very robust knowledge management sharing and network ongoing. But we're operating independently as Indra Philippines. So I have not yet had the chance to actually. I made introductions and all that, but the call to kind of get into the actual network still to happen. So.
Okay, no worries. We'll help you plug into KMGN's Global Knowledge Week so you can maybe bring in some Filipino speakers, attendees
Sure.
from there, and so on. Mohan, I like what you mentioned earlier about quiz. One of my colleagues, Manaswi, is an expert quiz master. So I'd love to
Hmm.
connect you and she can do a quiz for you on innovation, startups, all of that stuff. So, Mohan, how are you planning your next KM phases? You plan for the year or you plan for 2 years? The next
It is planned
KM?
every year. So at the beginning of every year, we strategize and we have to write this game strategy document. And within the group, we have this something called as this Tata Business Excellence Model, where the KM also get assessed as a part of the model, right? So it's important that we continuously improve. So it's not just within the company, even within the group, there is an expectation saying that uh, how we proactively change game and keep making improvements on what we do already. So certain things which might be working well for you, how can you automate some of those manual processes, make it more efficient with the help of AI enabled technologies?
How about you, Benedict? How are you planning for the year or the next 2, 3 years? How does it work?
We're we're in the early stages of a real big transformation for our company. So the start really is with the transition project management group, and from then it will expand into the other areas of the organization. So for now, it's really just getting our feet on the ground, and we have been observing the status quo process. So we've already added, layers of where we can add value from a KM perspective or knowledge transfer perspective, because that is the focus of what we're looking at. But I guess it depends on early successes or what quick wins we can handle. And then from there, we build a business case to actually add more KM roles as we go on.
Great. Somebody sent me some questions in the chat window directly to me, and they want to know who owns KM and who owns AI in your organizations. Do you have a separate chief knowledge officer and a separate chief AI officer, or both of these come under your CTO? What is the pecking order of KMAI data technology in your organizations? So, Benedict, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. I'm part of a very active chat group in the Philippines because we have many multinational companies who have established their shared services or back office in the Philippines. And one of the questions is always who really owns AI, and what has what the norm appears to be is normally AI would be under the IT domain or whoever the CIO is. It would not be under, I mean, it's very rare for it to be under the CEO, or it may be as a special project under the CEO, but normally it would be under IT because it would have to operate within the infrastructure or the backyard of what, because you don't want your data to go out into the public, for example. So mostly for security and privacy concerns. The only reason you would spin it out is really because you're treating it as a special project or some kind of initiative that you want to see if it will impact revenue or some kind of cost implication. But yeah, normally it would be under IT. I don't know if anyone has any other perspectives to share on
Yeah,
that.
let's listen to Mohan and then open up to the rest of the crowd for
So
input.
in Tata Lexi, we have a AI vertical which is there in each BU. And no, we have a central forum called as AI Governing Council, which is very recently established to ensure that AI is being properly used. Problem today is people do not know how to use AI, right? So, and what are basically the do's and don'ts of using AI? So, and what kind of tools, approved tools can be used? Because see, there is a completely no control over new tools, right? So new tools keep popping up, and somebody puts a SOW or a proposal into the system, and it becomes a customer escalation, right? So there are measures to prevent the leakage of knowledge. And that is why this governance council is formed. So in the governance council, you will have people from IT, you will have people from technology, you will have people from quality also. So then you will have a mix of domain expertise, as well as people from other support functions would also pitch in. So in each department we have a AI spark now. So if somebody has a doubt about how to use AI, that person will be the single point of contact. So, and we have been doing these sessions on the do's and don'ts of AI across the org.
Got it. So, who sets up the governing council? The CEO sets it up?
Governing council is directly from the SLT, from
Ah,
the MD himself. So they
got
all
it.
report into the ops and to the COO and to the MD.
Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's normally a cross-functional representation across the company. You'd have your legal, cybersecurity, HR. Most everyone would want to be involved. But then the question is usually, how do you usually police it, or how do you operationalize it? Because most of those departments probably don't even have someone who's, one, familiar with AI, and two, owns the content that the AI will actually process, right? So that's where it becomes tricky.
Got it.
At,
Okay.
at least now, what we have felt is, I think the direction has come that it should be AI first. So even if there are instances where any department is not using AI, they've been asked to look at how we can adopt AI in the process that we already have, in terms of, say, in terms of purchase, or in terms of within IT, how this can be done. It is given as a direction to them. I think people should start looking. If they've not thought about it, it's high time that they start thinking about it.
Yeah, that's a very good call to action. So, anyone else have any questions for the speakers? Ashish is also here with us. Rochelle, Elian, any questions? I noticed some of our startup founders are also here. I'd love to ask the founders, what have you learned from these corporate heavyweight case studies of knowledge management and AI? And do you think these are some things, good use cases for you? So, floor is open. Anyone just feel free to jump in. Vinay, you want to jump in with some of your comments, observations also before you do your wrap up afterwards?
Yeah, no, so I think one of the interesting insights, especially from the pitches, is a lot of founders are also raising money to build their products. So do you have innovation teams that sort of encourage entrepreneurship or co-invest in some of the new ideas that come up?
Yeah, just to build up on that question, in one of our earlier sessions, some of the speakers were corporate venture capital investors, some of them were startup engagement specialists. So they would do regular hackathons with startups, they would do proof of concept sessions, etc. So, are you engaging with startups and entrepreneurs also in your cities, in your companies?
So in Tata Elxsi, we have something called as Innovate, which is innovation at Tata Elxsi. So this is I am also part of the Innovate team because they want the KM also to be tightly involved in the innovation thing. So what we do is we do conduct hackathons. We do engage with universities as well to build certain solutions, and we work with the customers to co-create products as well. So, say for example, whenever a hackathon happens, we want to check, if the POC which we are going to develop, which is ultimately which is going to help us sell it or not. So that's why we want to have a buy-in from the customer. So that whenever these internal hackathons what we do, we co-create the theme of the hackathon from the customer only, and then we announce that theme, and then it goes through the process in terms of getting the initial idea, then getting the proof of concept, then actually developing the solution. The customer is actually involved, and he acts as a juror for in each of these stages, so that we ensure that the end product, we get a business out of it, and the customer is also happy. So this is also in terms of when I'm saying, these AI based. See, certain customers are, not very open to using AI because they have this thought of somehow their, data is being misused in some way. And we have customers who are proactively selling AI, saying that you boss, you do this first. We need this. So there are both sides of the coin to this, and we are trying to trying to build a middle ground here, right?
Yeah, that's a great insight. Companies are at different levels of maturity, sort of in the
Maturity.
claim journey, AI journey, etc. Some are averse, some are very proactive, and so on. In fact, I'm glad you mentioned hackathon. Vinay, my colleague, is an expert in hackathons. We've done a lot of hackathons for companies, and I'm glad you also mentioned the word co-creation. It's all about collaboration, thinking of new things rather than just plain cooperation. Benedict, anything to add? Philippines has got a very big, vibrant startup scene also, right? Incubators, accelerators. There are big startup
Yeah.
festivals and so on. So, what's that
Well,
like?
there's always something going on. I think you just have to look at, maybe Hackathon Philippines, and you'll get some hits of some events. But what I'm aware of is that, especially for example, Indra, when we need to seek a certain technology, I know for a fact that we normally include smaller companies because normally you'll get crowded out by the more established players. But because of the interest in either assisting smaller companies or startups, we would normally include at least one that just entered the market or has received some exposure. And you never know, the customer or the client might actually prefer them over the more established players. So at least I think that's how we're trying to facilitate or encourage more of that in the environment.
Oh, great. Thanks. Thanks, Benedict. I just realized we're running out of time. Vinay, would you like to make a few closing remarks? But first, let's thank both Mohan and Benedict for sharing so much of their insights, so many of their hard earned lessons with us. This whole thing is recorded, by the way. There'll be a YouTube video that's going out after this. So, for those of you who know other people who could not attend this session, we can share the link, and we meet every 2 months anyway. So, please do attend some of our future sessions. So, thanks, everyone. Let me now turn to Vinay to give the final word before we wrap up another 10 minutes.
Great. Thank you. It was a wonderful session, a lot of learnings and insights. We do this every 2 months. We look forward to more opportunities together. In fact, some of the things that we're doing this month and next month is we're taking an investor delegations to Thai conference Mysore. Hopefully in July, we can welcome enterprise leaders delegation to Bangalore and Mysore. One of the things that we have been given as a mandate from the governments and stakeholders is think beyond Bangalore and think beyond the major cities to go to other locations. So we'll be more than happy to support you and to invite you for some of our engagement delegations. We will share takeaways, and together, I truly believe that we can be a force multiplier to the innovators, change makers, and the knowledge management leaders. With that, thank you very much. We will stay in touch. Thank you, speakers, Madan, and the rest of the team and attendees who joined us. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. See you all on YouTube, see you all on our website, and see you at this forum on June 17th. Thank you all so much, and all the best. Have a great week ahead. Bye. Take
Thanks,
care.
man. Thanks for
Thank you,
watching.
everyone. Bye.